Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video by UmbrasDarkness. In today's video, you guys, we're going to be doing a hero guide on Alwyn. Alwyn is probably my favorite mage hero in the game. Also, my second favorite epic hero in the game. Our discussion here is going to be on Alwyn. He is used for PvP only. He is not used for Darklings. He is not used for Behemoths. He is only utilized for PvP. Quick overview of his skills is going to be his rage skill, which is very far, of course, 1000 rage cost. Alwyn deals hero skill damage to the target legion and ensnares them, dealing hero skill damage every second and reducing the target's march speed by 10% for 3 seconds. If the target is suffering from any other effects that deal magic damage, Alwyn deals an additional hero skill damage magic factor of 200. Slow is very, very powerful because if you slow down an enemy as they're retreating, they'll likely die. And if they die, that's more in their hospital, right? The next one is Weld Shields. All magic units in Alwyn's Legion gain 10% magic attack and 10% HP. Perfect. Great. Absolutely love it. Alwyn's Legion takes 15% less normal attack damage in the field. Awesome. He's a PvP hero. He's not meant for rallies. He's not meant for anything else. He's meant for open field. The skill works perfectly. 15% less normal attack damage means that it's going to survive longer. And then Friend of the Hemlock. When Alwyn's Legion is hit with a normal attack, they have a 15% chance to ensnare their attacker, dealing hero skill damage every second and reducing their march speed by 10% for 3 seconds. So when the attacker starts hitting him, they're already moving slower. It's harder for them to react. And if they hit Alwyn by accident because they're attacking someone nearby and their mage and AoE damage happens, or if their pet attacks them on accident with the new pets, 15% chance to cause slow. And then the Awaken, Alwyn deals hero skill damage to target legion and snares them, dealing hero skill damage every second and reducing that target's march speed by 10% for 3 seconds. If the target is suffering from any other effect that deal magic damage, Alwyn deals an additional heal skill damage, which is basically the skill 1. Now, this is super important because 1, you need to have another skill that deals hero skill damage that has a negative effect. And 2, it is all about CC, slowing down the hero, things like that. So first we're going to go talk about the talent tree. When you build Alwyn's talent tree, it's mages. You definitely want to go for speed. So you're going to go here and then for speed and HP. The chances of getting into actual like combat with mages means that you're already on the losing side, which is why a retreat is better than an overall defense. And then you're going to go for speed. You're going to go for attack. Hopefully you don't need, you know, less normal attack damage. Maybe counterattack damage would be better than the attack, but personally I like to deal more damage. And then here we're gonna increase our rage because we want more chances to ensnare. We want to be able to cast our artifacts. Your deputy casts 1 second after your commander casts, and Alwyn is definitely a commander. And then we're going to do counter attacks, have 10% chance to steal 40 rage from the enemy legion. Sweet. So if they do get into the back line, more likely that your commander is going to launch another attack. Your legion deals 4% more hero skill damage. Awesome. Really like this with one of the deputies that I will talk about here shortly, but definitely overall great. When your legion launches a normal attack, they have a 10% chance to inflict defense break on the target legion, reducing their defense by 5% for 5 seconds. Now, just to be clear, this is not a magic ability, therefore it doesn't trigger Alwyn's other skills, but you do want to be able to deal some damage and handle it appropriately. And then your legion has a 50% chance to gain synergy every time they inflict a debuff effect, which is why, you know, things like ambush and then snare and then choosing the right deputy is important. Increasing hero skill damage dealt by 4%, eventually 5% for 10 seconds. And then when we're looking at the large talent that you can choose, you're definitely going to be going for reticency Definitely important to have this because we're doing like a rage gen debuff, like a rage build here, and we're going for attack and damage. So it's definitely because the skills that we have deal the control along with this. So you want to rebuild the rage as fast as possible, and silencing your opponent frequently and often is going to prevent even more damage. Especially like if you're hitting the front line or you're hitting their archers and now their archers can't attack your infantry as much, stuff like that. Definitely important to be able to silence them. And then over here, I personally would go down the magic tree. I'm not a huge fan of the PvP tree. If you want to go down the PvP tree, you're obviously going to pick up attack. I would take overall speed. I'm not interested in this one. You know, rivalry is interesting. Head held high though. And then for this one, I would rather have Army of Valor. I would not have Luck of the Draw. And then I would just pick up War Banner for a little bit of extra control. However, here you get to pick up Magic HP, Foresight, which is a rage accumulation build, and then Intimidation, more skill damage, or Magic Attack, but I prefer Intimidation. And then 8% chance to deal an additional target damage raid skill that deals damage to multiple targets. Perfect. Mages are AoE. Energy boost. You're hitting all of the infantry. Now you're hitting a bunch of infantry to deal additional target to, or deal an additional target rage skill that deals damage to more things. So I'd definitely go for energy boost. As for Magic Maelstrom, when your Legion consists entirely of magic units, they gain defense penetration before casting a rage skill, ignoring 10% of target's defense for 5 seconds. This effect can be triggered once every 30 seconds. Not really interested in this because I prefer to build it as a rage build, so hopefully they're launching more frequently than every 30 seconds, so this loses its luster and energy boost sounds way better. All right, so now for hero pairs. You're definitely going to be looking for other heroes that deal debuffs, but you also want to be looking at DPS if possible, based off of the fact that you should prefer building a rage build for Alwyn. So the number one hero that comes from this is actually Liliana. The most common tactic for PvP right now is a 2 mage, 2 archer, 1 infantry build, and Alwyn being in the lead of one of them and Velian being in the lead of another one. If you want to see that video, let me know down in the comments. Is definitely solid. So Alwyn, in my personal opinion, should be paired with Lily if you can get Lily to 511, which I believe is like $6. And this will enable you to have all of this, but it will also have Liliana's Scorch, which will enable Alwyn's abilities even better. Now, if you're completely free to play, you can't do that. Your Valiant's not built. Waldyr is your is like the free to play's best option. One, if you are the human faction, you get Waldyr very easily awaken, and then 2, it gains gloom and freeze, so there are other debuffs that are on it, which is why Waldyr is definitely in that. If you guys have caught my Waldyr video, link will be up in the or down in the comments somewhere. Definitely worthwhile for Waldyr to be able to be the deputy here, and that's why Waldyr is typically a deputy hero. But Alwyn definitely works well as the commander with either Waldyr if you're completely free to play, can't afford a Lily, or your Valiant's not built, or also having even Alwyn Valiant, but that reduces your ability to bring out 2 mage marches, which is why I prefer Alwyn as lead with Liliana as deputy. Now, as for the artifacts to use, the artifacts to use are definitely obviously going to be Infernal Flames if you're using it with Liliana or Lily. Otherwise, Phoenix Eye if you have Phoenix Eye. The other artifact for epics that you would look at is honestly Time Bomb, but unfortunately Time Bomb doesn't really synergize, so the number one would be Infernal Flames, but Magic Bomb is definitely a solid option. It prevents your opponents from retreating and stuff like that. Definitely an artifact that I see on the battlefield very often, something I've considered leveling up myself. I haven't yet because I don't really use mages, but Magic Bomb could definitely be used, especially by free-to-play players. Definitely a solid option. And then if you're running double mage, your other one could be Phoenix Eye if you've been lucky enough to get it. As for pets, there are two different options that are viable. The first option is obviously Sapphire Fairdrake. If you've watched a couple of my pet videos, another one's going to be coming out talking about skills here shortly. But if you've watched my Sapphire Fairdrake videos, skill damage is magic, so it works with the heroes. And deals extra damage inflicted with those with slow, and this one inflicts enemies with slow, so Alwyn gets triggered more. Also, if we look at Sapphire Fairdrake's talent of Pain Bloom, it deals damage to target legion and one legion surrounding, but then each time it inflicts Scorch or Ensnare or Freeze on one enemy legion, it deals more damage, so you're already dealing more and more because you have Ensnare. If you're pairing with Lily, it's going to be Scorch. If you're pairing with Valiant, it's going to be Freeze. So definitely worthwhile to pick up. Now, another option here is the Ice Lizard. While this is not exactly the same, it can gain Rage faster, so Rage build definitely. And then it deals Ice Spheres, so it's doing more damage. Not, necessarily my number one option, but I do think that it is worthwhile to note that, you can have Ice Shards, you can have a faster Rage build. And so if you want to do a Ice Lizard build, definitely okay, but Sapphire Fairdrake is by far the best for this type of build. Hopefully this video helped you guys. I wanted to try and talk a little bit more about talent trees. The reason I brought up only the PvP tree is because Alwyn really doesn't fit anywhere else. Debuffs don't work on Behemoths, Darklings. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. So PvP, open field, definitely what you're going to be using him for. Rallies are typically cavalry because they're the fastest. So yeah. Otherwise, you guys can catch me down in the YouTube comments. You can find me on Discord. I'm the #1 talker, link in the description, or you can catch me on K102. Until next time, y'all, stay humble, stay happy, stay hungry. Bye, y'all.